numbers as well. Is that okay?
Okay. No, that sounds great.
Okay.
Okay, I just sent you the phone number to join.
Okay, thank you, Sandy.
Thanks, Presley, for the...
Yeah, she's starting the recording. We may have to do a little editing. Okay, just a second.
And Belka said she's trying to get on. She's
I see her.
okay.
I just let her in.
There
we
she
are.
is.
Hello.
Belkis.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Okay. Belkis, do you want me to play for my screen?
Yes, let me just take this off my back.
Okay.
Presley is going to make both
I
of you
like
late.
it, but it does have a glare.
Yeah.
Presley is going to make both of you ladies
Okay.
co-host.
Okay.
I'm just going to sit here and look like I know what's going on. I'm going to do this.
I want to say Carla and Sandy, and I will let you decide what if you want to do this. So we have the AIR self-determination assessment completely loaded in the TAGG platform now, and we're ready to pilot it. If y'all have a couple teachers who you think might be good pilot, it works exactly the same way the TAGG does in terms of sending emails out to parents and students, and then it computes all the self-determination scores for you. We just need about 15-ish teachers who are willing to pilot it with a few students.
So let me just say this. I think it's important for you to mention that, and
Okay.
whoever reaches out to you first to say, yes, I'm very interested. Once you explain what it is, tell them it's going to be first come, first serve, and
Okay.
see how that works. I'm happy for you to mention that.
Okay.
Sandy, how about you?
Oh, yeah, and you will get plenty of takers. I'm looking at who's signed in here. Some of my overachievers are already in the waiting room. So yeah, you'll probably get plenty of hits on that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, well, what I'm showing you guys really quickly before we get started, I just, like 30 minutes ago, Sandy and I put this together, but we just did the welcome screen and put y'all's information in there, but for whatever reason, I don't know why the emails aren't there. I'm going to have to go in. So I'm going to do that here in just oh, that's the wrong one. That's why. Just a second. Hold it, hold it, hold it. I went to the wrong PowerPoint. Okay, here we go. Are y'all able to see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, looks great.
All right. So just really quickly what we thought, I didn't know how long, my mouse is going everywhere. I need to pull out the other one. We didn't know how long you guys were going to need. We figured an hour to go through this.
Yes.
And we added the implementation or action plan for the educators at the end, and we're going to be providing them with links. Let's see. Figure this out. Everything is hidden from me. Sorry, guys. Oh, here it is down here. 1 second. We just did a few little etiquette slides and that it's being recorded. And then we want them to talk over these talking points when you guys are done presenting. Presley is going to be working on putting them in breakout rooms.
Okay.
And they have a link to these questions that we want them to be discussing in the breakout rooms.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you want that data, once it's all done, all that those Google forms are to come to me. I'm happy to share those with you to be one Google form for each breakout room. Just
okay. Yeah, that would be great. And see if there's stuff that we need to better incorporate into the presentation or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know when y'all are ready to let people.
Okay. Let me get it back on the first slide, Presley. And you can let them in. We've got 50 there already.
Oh my goodness.
It'll be a good group.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I see lots of no faces. Where's the faces?
Hello.
Equals.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yay, now we're talking.
Just got to push the button so that you can see us.
Well,
Well,
we want to leave that up to you. And I know there's no other voice than Richard. So that's who's,
No, there you go.
hey.
Hello.
Hey, at least I know how to push a button, so that's all right.
Hey, we like it.
We've had to learn.
Hey,
We've had to
Kenya.
learn how to push buttons, haven't
Hey,
we,
Brooke.
the last 6 months for sure.
Yay, we
kids
got
are-
faces.
Yeah, my kids are real good at pushing my buttons.
Too many faces.
Well, we will get started here, you guys. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes since everyone was in the waiting room. We'll get started in about 2 or 3 more minutes, and we thank you for your patience.
Hey, Suzanne.
Hi, Sandy. Now you can hear me. I unmuted myself.
Good, good. Glad you were able to come today.
I know, and I really appreciate being on your listserv.
Oh, you're welcome.
You send me lots of good information
Well, good.
and I pass along.
Sometimes when I get good stuff, I just forward.
And then I just keep going.
All right. Well, good afternoon to everyone. We will get started here in just a moment.
Everybody loves a good transition assessment. Look at all these people signing on.
I know.
So excited.
Excited.
It is, no, seriously, I'm not even being smart aleck. I'm serious. It's like people are like dying for a really good transition assessment.
Yeah, because we know we have to have multiple tools in our toolkit. So
There you
Yes.
go.
for the staff there at the Zarrow Center for carving some time, honestly. This was only planned 3 weeks ago, and so we're thankful that Kendra and Belkis are taking the time this afternoon, honestly.
Very, very appreciative.
No, it's our pleasure. Get some of that Chick-fil-A hospitality.
Yeah. All right. I say at 2:03, you guys, how about that?
I say good.
Because we're at 72 and it looks like anyone who is wanting to be here has had an opportunity to join.
And I think that's more than what was originally signed up. So
I think it was 86 this morning when we looked. So first of all, thank you guys for carving. I know you are all so very busy and we thank you for taking time to from your busy schedules to join us for this session this afternoon. My name is Carla Johnson. I'm the Regional Transition Specialist at Region 11, and I am joined by my good friend and colleague over at Region 10, Sandy Cox.
Hey, everybody. Glad you're here. Like always.
Our presentation today is going to be presented by Dr. Kendra D.M. Williams and Belkis Choizel-Praslin from the University of Oklahoma. And I'm going to let them tell you more about themselves here in just a moment, plus another opportunity. How about that? She's got a bonus for everyone this afternoon. But before we get started, I thought it would be helpful for me to just kind of run through, sorry guys, let me get my mouse together. To run through the slides. I have 2 screens, as y'all can see. It's driving me bonkers. There we go.
Carla?
Yes.
Carla?
Hello.
This is Jessica from the Denton County Co-op. I have a question for you. If we are in our car, will we be able to obtain access to the presentation later on?
I'm going to say yes. Kendra, can you help me with that one?
yes, absolutely. You can obtain access since you are announcing that you're in your car. Promise me that you don't try to do any texting or going to website.
No, so I'm just audio right now. I can't see anything,
Okay.
which is why I want to hear and just take it all in, but be able to reference back to a slide later.
Yeah.
All right. Just be safe doing that. I think what Kendra was saying, she just didn't want you to all of a sudden pull up a website while you're
Oh,
driving.
no.
And actually, I'm going to be kind of
Thank
doing
you.
that in just a minute as well.
Okay, well, no problem. All right.
So,
All right, so
Thank
some
you.
norms for today. Unless anyone else has any questions before we get started, we are going to ask you guys to go ahead and mute yourselves so that our presenters can begin the presentation here in a moment. We really do like seeing you guys, so we appreciate those of you who have chosen to put on your cameras today. And if you have questions other than those that are behind the wheel, we'd like for you to put those in the chat, but there will be an opportunity at the end for you to ask questions. And so we'll announce when you can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand and we can unmute you. On your screen, for those, I know we've been doing this for a long time, but we always just like to give you that little reminder of what you're actually seeing and how those buttons at the bottom of your screen work in a Zoom session. So that's just a little reminder of that. And that this session is being recorded for your reference later and for others who are not able to join us today. So I'm going to take away my screen and turn this over. Cindy, do you have anything you want to add? We did want to say, I wanted to say, we're very thankful for the Texas Education Agency as well as the Student Centered Transition Network for really generously sponsoring the credits that you guys are going to be obtaining through this session for TAGG. So without ado, I'm going to stop my screen and turn it over to Kendra for her to introduce herself and Belkis.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. It is very nice to at least virtually see a bunch of people today. I think we're all, hopefully most of you are maybe in your classrooms. My kids were in classrooms last week and now they're back not in classrooms this week. So we'll see what happens next week. Just out of curiosity, are there any teachers from Arlington ISD? All right, I see some thumbs up. I am a Lamar High School graduate way back when. So it's always kind of fun to reconnect with people in Arlington ISD. So
Kendra, go Colts. Hello.
no, I am a Vike. Go Vikes. So anyway.
Texans.
It is always fun to reconnect. So thank you so much, Carla and Sandy, for inviting Belkis and I here. We are more than happy to present. We love transition assessments. It's probably kind of weird, but it is fun and exciting for us. So a little bit about myself. Well, I just disclosed that I graduated from Lamar High School in Arlington way back when. I then got my degree from Texas A&M. Somehow I ended up north of the Red River at OU, but I absolutely love it here. I'm the director of the Zero Center and have been for the last few years. So I do this in the Zero Center. And then of course, I'm also a faculty member in special ed. Belkis, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi everyone, my name is Belkis. I'm one of the doctoral students at OU. I was a teacher in DC public schools for about 5 years for students with mild moderate disabilities and then severe profound, so like two ends of the very different disability spectrum. And I do love transition assessments, so I'm really hoping we can help you guys out today with all the transition knowledge we can share.
All right, Belkis, I'm going to interrupt you and ask you to please mention that everyone should have received an email from you, or tell them where it's from so they can look for it in their spam with their credits. And then if they haven't, we will get those taken care of.
Yeah, so earlier today, you should have received an email. If you did not already have a TAGG account, you would see an email with the email account that you registered for this webinar or for the training with. And it'll be in your inbox and it'll say activate your account for TAGG. If you don't have that email, what you can do is go to our TAGG website, and we'll show you what the web address is in a minute, and do the forgot your password route. And so we've created an account for you. If you don't have an account in any of those, please let us know, let Carla know, or put it in the chat box and we can help set you up quickly.
Yeah, we made sure, so everyone who I think was registered by yesterday or the day before should have an account. If you just registered today, we might not have had an opportunity to create your account, but if you can check on that, let us know in the chat box, then we can definitely make sure it's set up before we get into the individual parts of the TAGG training. So, show of thumbs up or thumbs down. How many of you have ever heard of transition assessment? I better see 100% thumbs up. Excellent. How many of you have ever used the TAGG before? Okay, I see some thumbs up. I see some not thumbs up. So we are really excited to present on the TAGG. TAGG stands for Transition Assessment and Goal Generator. It was developed by researchers at the Zero Center off an Institute of Education Sciences grant, originally awarded in 2010 or 11. But it's finished, fully developed, available for use. We're also going to very briefly mention that we are currently developing TAGG-A. So the original TAGG was developed for students with mild moderate disabilities who anticipate going on to competitive employment or competitive post-secondary education. TAGG-A is intended for students who are not necessarily going on to competitive employment or competitive post-secondary education. We kind of say A is for alternate students on alternate transition goals or alternate academic standards. We are about 90% done with TAGG-A. We are in our very final field test. And so if that is something you are interested, please shoot one of us an email so that we can get you the information for TAGG-A. The nice thing is we can actually pay you for your participation. So instead of you giving us money to access the assessment, we'll actually pay you money to take the assessment. So just wanted to throw that out there. Carla and Sandy, I cannot monitor the chat too well as we get going, so just thank you.
Yeah, we're handling it, and
Okay.
Just as Belkis mentioned, please put your full name and your email address in the chat, and I'm going to be capturing those onto the Word document, and we will work to get those accounts added. Someone said that they just registered today, so can you get an email? Again, if you register today, you're not going to have the account set up. If you registered prior to yesterday, you should have an email. But if not, put your full name and email address in the chat, and we're going to take good care of you. Thank you.
So just a little clarification, the email should come from tagg@ou.edu, TAGG. Please do check your clutter email. A lot of times the initial emails get filtered by a lot of school districts that have really good filtering systems. So please make sure you check your clutter. Another good thing to do is when you go to the TAGG, I'm going to screen share really quick. When you go to the TAGG website, let me screen share. When you go to the TAGG website, go ahead and click log in, which is kind of in that upper right corner. It'll take you to this site. Mine is saved in here, but if you click forgot your password, it will resend you an email to change your password. So if you, for some reason, can't find or didn't receive an email from earlier, making sure you had a TAGG account, this is another good way to check to see if you actually have one in the system, because it will tell you you don't have an account. So for a lot of you, I just kind of see the chat scrolling by, but this is a really good way to check to make sure you have an account. So I'm going to stop screen share. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. So Belkis and I have prepared, it's not really a long PowerPoint, but there's kind of some front-loaded information. And then by far, we're going to spend the most of today going through the TAGG system, getting into the TAGG system so that you are familiar with it and know how to use it with your students. And as Carla mentioned earlier, the Student-Centered Transition Network has purchased a lot of TAGG credits for teachers available in Texas. And so I know that that center, your education service center, transition specialists want you to use those credits because, you know, there's no point spending money on things that don't get used. So, all right, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and get started. Slideshow, play from start. Okay, so this is just kind of TAGG 101. Belkis and I introduced ourselves earlier. Contact information is there at the bottom of the screen. So if there's any time you need to get in touch with us, send us a quick email. Someone should get back with you within about 24 hours for sure. So we try to be really responsive to those who are emailing and calling in. Couple kind of businessy things. If you have never been on the Zero Center website, we highly encourage you to go check it out. It's just zerocenter.ou.edu, and there is a lot of free resources available on that website. There's transition assessments. Of course, we're going to go over the TAGG today. There's also additional transition assessments. There's curriculum, there's education materials. Our most downloaded materials are what we call the Bell Ringer series, and it's kind of a series of 5-minute bell ringer type activities that you can do quickly at the beginning of class. We've also talked to teachers who have been able to incorporate the bell ringers in a virtual format really well. So those are well put together, and those kind of are one of our more downloaded items. So please do check out the Zero Center website, and we love feedback.
If you are familiar with how QR codes work, you can use your QR reader on your phone, and these will take you directly to the links we're sharing.
So, and then again, if you ever want to contact us, please just email at zerocenter.ou.edu. Last kind of announcement is we received a master's training grant in special education and social work. And so what happens is students will take the complete transition sequence of courses that are offered within the special education program here at OU. Then they will take elective coursework in the social work, the School of Social Work here, that really allows them to kind of get those extra skills of working with adult service providers and different agencies and parents. We have 2 out-of-state tuition waivers that we can award every year. And so I wish I could tell you that all of our Texas students can go for free. Well, let me rephrase that. I wish I could tell you that all of our Texas students, we could waive tuition. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but we have agreement to waive the out-of-state tuition for 2 individuals a year. Then with the fellowship that is provided through the funding, it is like getting a free master's degree. Students get $20,000 over 2 years that pays for all their tuition and fees. So if you are interested in a master's degree, this may be a really good route. I'm thinking of our 2 out-of-state people for this year, and they are both actually from Texas. So there is kind of a little precedence that a lot of times students get the out-of-state tuition waiver. So please look into this if this is something that you are interested in. All right, so Belkis, I'm gonna let you talk for a little bit if you want to.
Yeah, so I'm sure you are all very, very aware. Special education is much more litigious and legal friendly or legal happy than a lot of other disciplines in education. And there are reasons for that. We have a big governing law, IDEA, that tells us what to do, and we need to follow that. But that law sometimes leaves big gaps, and we have learned through research how to avoid all the legal stuff that comes. So these are your best practice recommendations when it comes to transition assessments. First, we have to administer transition assessments every single year for every single student. Even if you did it for last year for John, you have to do it this year and the following year until John leaves high school. The second recommendation is to use a variety of assessments. So just one assessment is okay, but it's not legally compliant, and that's where people start getting into trouble. You need more than one assessment. And then the third practice is that one of those assessments has to be formal. And what we mean by formal is that it has to have some research behind it saying that we can continue to use this. It is appropriate for the student that we want to test. The TAGG, it counts as a formal assessment. So that's one that we can check off our box. When you're looking at things to supplement the TAGG, you have to think about what the TAGG is actually testing. So we are looking at education and employment with the TAGG. That means that you could fill in the other spots for an informal assessment, looking at independent living or self-determination or anything in that realm that kind of fills in the gaps, what we know of transition planning.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off of what Belka said is, you know, there's a lot of assessments that and I don't ever want to say we recommend, but there's a lot of assessments that pair nicely with TAGG, and Belka's definitely hit on some of them. Self-determination assessments, if that's the need of a student, maybe a career cluster inventory if the student is not quite sure what career area that they are interested in. There's also a lot of very informal assessments just in the form of interviews and surveys and talking to students. I can remember very specifically, and I taught around the Houston area, and I can remember very specifically the why question. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a doctor. Why do you want to be a doctor? And, you know, and some of that really important information you don't quite get out of formal assessments. Which is one reason why I never say formal is better than informal. They're just different. So please don't ever think that assessments that have that formal designation, that research behind them, are superior or inferior. As you all know, because you're teaching, it takes a lot of different information to get the true picture of what a student needs and what they need to be successful. So these are just, I'm just going to ramble, Belkis. These are just some different type of assessments, and we kind of hit on these interest inventories. What are you interested in? What are the career clusters, exploration tools, skills assessment, specific skills assessment, whether it's academic skills, transition skills, self-determination skills, and then we have that formal versus informal designation. So, for example, one of the most common transition assessments that we see here in Oklahoma are the Casey Life Skills, which are great. There's a lot of great information that you can gather from those. Those are not considered formal assessments. And so great information to take into building the transition plan. It's just not formal. So again, I just don't ever want you to think that formal means better.
So we're going to look at the TAGG specifically, and we say that it's a short presentation because the TAGG is made to be very user-friendly. There are a couple key functions that we need to know how to use, but after that, it's just a matter of assigning it and getting familiar with the system.
Yeah. Why are we not going?
So.
Oh, no, go ahead. So we consider the TAGG as formal, and the little guy in like the little tuxedo is an icon that we use on a lot of our different presentations just to recognize it as a formal assessment. It also costs money. And so under normal situations, the TAGG costs $3 per credit. We are piloting kind of a district site license this year, but please do not worry about the cost because the state of Texas has purchased TAGG credits for use. And so what we really want to do is show that teachers are using TAGG or that they are getting their money's worth kind of out of all the credits that they've bought. So for you, luckily this year, you don't even have to worry about the cost. All you have to do when you run out of TAGG credits is re-email your Education Service Center transition specialist. So for those of you on this call, it's going to be either Carla or Sandy, and they will happily say, yes, here are more credits, go out and use them. So that's great news for the Texas area.
So like we said, the TAGG is easy to use. This is our big thing that we wanted to make it very teacher friendly, user friendly. It's based on those behaviors and experience that research has told us are important for students with disabilities and their success after high school, especially in the areas of employment and in further education. And you'll see what we mean by this, but the TAGG, once the assessment's complete, you're gonna get priority ranked annual transition goals based on the student's overall strengths and needs, and a written profile that you can copy and paste right into the IEP.
Why am I not clicking? Okay. So this is kind of going back to that research component of TAGG that makes it a formal assessment. So when we originally developed TAGG, we started out with well over 100 questions that were all based on what the literature said students needed to be successful after high school. After working on the TAGG and piloting the different field tests, we ended up with 8 constructs. And so these are the 8 constructs that the TAGG specifically assesses and looks at. You are all capable of reading, so I'm not going to read them all. But what's going to happen when you take the assessment is students are going to be ranked and rated on these different areas. So it's going to come back and say, you know what, Johnny is a strength in disability awareness, but he does not have a strength in persistence. So persistence may come up as an area of need for Johnny. And you will just see these different themes come up. When we look at what a PDF output of the TAGG assessment results, you will definitely see these different 8 constructs come back up into those.
So
go ahead.
Once you go into the assessment and you assign a student and the student's ready to take it, it looks just like this. Or actually, this might be the professional version. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
this is the student.
Yeah. So this is the professional version. So what you as the educator would see. There is audio available for every single question, and it's a ranked 1 through 5, and there are what the 1 through 5 means. There's also an ASL video attached to every question. These features are available in the student and the parent versions as well. And although the teacher can only take the assessment in English, there are also translations in Spanish and Chinese for students and families. So we kind of try to get the vary of who may be taking the assessment.
So yeah, and we literally just last week got an Arabic translation. So I'm not sure if there's large Arabic populations in Texas. I know there are in Minnesota and some other states, but we are working on trying to get the TAGG into additional languages so that we can especially reach families, because the students may be proficient enough to take it in English, but that doesn't mean that families aren't, especially for some of our students who are more recent to coming to the United States. We want them to take it in the language that they are most familiar and comfortable with to take. So you'll also see this is the snapshot of the professional version, and it is on a 1 through 5 scale. The student version is on a 1 to 3 scale. And this was another one of those things that kind of came out in the piloting and the validation of the TAGG, was that students couldn't stay consistent with a 1 to 5 scale. And so it's only on a 1 to 3 scale, you know, rarely, sometimes often. So it makes it a little bit easier for students to use it. This is what the output looks like. And so once a student has taken the assessment, you can clearly see, you know, here's a snapshot from this. We're going to go through and look at these later, but you can see strengths and limitations. You can see disability awareness and see those different constructs that came up and how the student rated themselves and how the parents rated the student, and then of course how the teacher rated the student. If perchance you do not have, now we always recommend trying to get all 3 entities to take the assessment, but we also recognize that sometimes for whatever reasons, it's really hard, especially to get parents and families to take the assessment. What's gonna happen is the parent line right there that's in blue is just, oh, wait, I went the wrong way, is just gonna not have anything. So it'll just clearly show that the parents did not take the assessment. I also wanna highlight that this gives a lot of room to talk about things, especially with the students, with the parents when you're in parent-teacher conferences and those kind of things. So you can see in disability awareness, everyone kind of rated this student similarly. There's not a lot of discrepancy. But when we look at strengths and limitations, the student rated themselves pretty low and the teacher rated them much higher. This also gives an area to discuss with the student to find out, how are you interpreting things? How are you not? Usually it's kind of the flip side where students think they're great at everything. At least that's mostly my experience. I'm proficient in this, I'm proficient in this, I'm proficient in this, and it's the teacher and parents that tend to rate lower. But, we can definitely see that this creates a discrepancy, which then triggers conversations and more in depth to figure out what's going on here. When the TAGG system spits out suggested goals, it's going to look at these things and say, you know what, the student has a strength and disability awareness, so we're not going to worry about that category as much. But the student maybe doesn't have a good perspective of what areas that they are strong and not strong in. And so maybe that's where we want to focus the annual goal. You want to add anything, Belkis?
You can also download these results as a PDF, which is like the best feature. So this way you could share it with the parents, you can share it with the student, and you don't have to keep referring back to a screen every single time.
Yeah. All right, so then what happens is the TAGG is going to give you suggested annual goals. And we really do mean they are suggested annual goals. We all know that IEPs and transition plans are individualized. And so the suggestions that you have given probably need to be tweaked or, just kind of massaged a little bit or maybe a lot to be appropriate for your student. But we are definitely looking at areas, based on the results of where we can give you suggestions to write their annual goal right there in the IEP. The good news is, thanks again to the student-centered transition team there in Texas, all of the suggested goals have been correlated with the TEKS. So that is currently in process. Our correlating has occurred. We are currently working with our webmaster to get everything uploaded and coded into the TAGG system. So hopefully by around January, when you log into TAGG, you can clearly say, I want everything done in TEKS. And when it gives you the suggested goals, it'll automatically say, this is the TEKS that this goal is aligned with. And so that way, all of the general education teachers cannot say that working on transition is outside of the general education curriculum, because you can go right in there and say, here's their transition goals, here is the TEKS that they correspond with, and boom, we're doing both at the same time. So
Okay,
that
we
is
need
really
to interrupt for 1 second. So everybody take off your microphone and go, yee-haw. Thank you.
Yeehaw.
2, 3.
Yeehaw.
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 That is amazing.
So it is exciting. We're excited to get it. Yeah, it's been something that I know Texas has wanted for a while, and so it's great that it's happening. You want to add anything, Belkis?
Not on this one, but when we go to the next slide, I'd like to share my screen so I could show you some of the functions specifically in the TAGG site. That way, when we get started, you'll know where you're clicking. So once you're able to get into the TAGG, and we'll share a way for you to do it if you don't have an account right now, it'll look like this. The number of credits you have available will be up here. If for some reason you are wanting to transfer some of the credits to a different account, you just go to transfer credits. Put in the number, put in the email that you're sending it to. When you want to create a new student, it'll just ask you for their information, some of their demographic factors, and the student will appear like this. So here are my examples. It'll say not complete, but it will give you options for professional, student, and family. So you can take it, you can send an email link to whoever it is, especially right now in online or virtual learning. It's a great time to be sending those links to families and students because we're not really going to see them in person. You can also print in Spanish. There's a Braille, but it's like very little used, but you are also welcome to use that. Once the assessments is complete, say you have all 3 or just 2 that you were able to get done, you can mark completed, and the completed assessments will stay down there forever. You don't have to do anything to them. You don't also have to press mark complete, but it might help you organize if you have a lot of students that you're assessing. And that's essentially what all you need to know about how to use the site. Like we said, it's very simple. We get suggestions from teachers all the time. letting us know what is working and what is not working. And if you see something that you think might need to be fixed, let us know, because we're happy to make those changes if possible.
Yeah, and being able to download the results in a PDF was a direct request from teachers, because they had the website and they'd print their website, but they'd say, you know what, this would be so great if I could just save the results in a PDF. So we always welcome feedback. All right, let me go back to screen share.
While you're doing that, I'm going to interrupt. We had a question. I'm assuming what is transfer account? What that means is that if you have 15 credits, but there are other teachers in your district or on your campus that you'd like to share those credits with, then you would be able to transfer. Is that true, Belkis and Kim?
Yes.
Yes.
We also see that some teachers may have one or may have more than one account, and all their credits are on one account, but they want it on the other. You can transfer them to yourselves as well, as long as the email account is an active TAGG account. So it won't transfer if you're saying it to the wrong email.
Right.
So it's like consolidating your Starbucks cards.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfectly put.
Hey, and while she's transferring, before you get started, Kendra, let me just say, Sandy and I had a quick conversation. The few credits that we're providing for you guys today, we figured we'd give you until after winter break and to use those. So we're going to just say the end of January, and if you haven't used your credits by then, we would like to be able to share those with others who may not have TAGG credits. Okay, so jot that down. We really want you guys to use these, try these with various students that you serve, and if you're not going to use them at the end of January, you're going to lose them, but you can always get them back. All right.
On the flip side, if you use all of your credits and you want more, you can have more. So we just want to make sure that they're being used and not just sitting in some unused count for years at a time, because that doesn't help our students. So we're going to talk a lot through the study results profiles and what that gets to when we look kind of into more of the assessments. And so I'm going to kind of gloss over this screen a little bit. I just think it's so much easier when you actually see the printouts, what it looks like. So the first thing I want you to do right now is open a web browser, log on to tagg.ou.edu. And I want you to use this demo account name. It is zctagdemo, capital A, @gmail.com. So what I want you to do is I am going to also log on using this account. We are going to walk through it. I do not want you to use one of your real live good TAGG credits and kind of waste on learning how to do the system. So we as a group are going to walk through what it's like to set up your account, how to use the credits, how to send the credits out, and do all of those things. And then we want to make sure that you have access to your personal accounts. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to change that on you. So I'm going to give you about another minute. Hopefully you can all get this information. Carla, since you have the chat open, can you type this information quickly in the chat so that if people need to come back and reference it, they can?
Sure, let me get to that PowerPoint, and yes, I will do that right now.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Leave it there for just a moment. And is it case sensitive? Kendra, is it case sensitive?
The tag.ou is not case sensitive. The username is case sensitive. So it needs to be capital ZCT and then the tag demo and then a capital A. And the password is also case sensitive.
It worked for me without capitalizing the ZC or the A.
Sometimes for the email it's not, but we know, I think it depends on people's browsers sometimes more than
You got it, Carla?
their system.
We also recommend you
I'm
not
doing it.
We also recommend not to use Internet Explorer. For whatever reasons, that website is not quite as TAGG friendly as Firefox, Safari,
Chrome.
Chrome.
You can use the tag on an iPad and even a cell phone. The cell phone is small though, so just know you might be straining your eyes, but you can use it there too.
Okay, so I am going to stop my screen share so that I can log on.
I have it open on mine.
Oh, are you on right now, Belkis?
Yeah.
Okay, then why don't you just screen share your screen?
And you guys double check me. I think I got it right. Real quick, leave it there for a second. Go back.
Wait, did I move it?
Yeah, that's okay. I think I got it right.
Okay.
Someone did say, oh, someone said that you need to go to tag.ou./edu.
Or tag.ou.edu and it'll take you to a longer box, but
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sandy is the one who actually said that. Sorry, guys.
So yeah, once you get to that main page, there's two ways to log in. There's a blue icon that's kind of more towards the bottom right. And then in that top border heading, it's also the furthest to the right. And then when you log in, just make sure you use the demo account information.
so I see that some people have already created students. You're ahead. That's great. This is a demo account that we use, but it looks exactly identical to your standard account, your paid accounts. You'll see the number of credits we have. What we're going to do together is create a new assessment. So everybody will go in and create a new assessment. And you're going to make up a student name. Don't use real names. We don't need to know your students' real names. And here you'll be able to see that if your student is a Spanish speaker or Spanish tester or their families are, you can assign those here. They have to be done here and not after the fact because you just can't access it later. So, and that includes the Chinese versions as well.
Also at the top, you'll see, and Belkis's icon is kind of there, it says disable either the professional version or the family version. My recommendation is to just never disable it. If for some reason those don't get done, it's fine. You can still use the assessment, but that is an option.
So once you go in, I said everybody's created. We can start with the professional version because that's actually going to ask you to input all the information for your students. And you don't have to answer all the questions, but take a moment to see what the questions look like and click around, see how you feel about it. You can also listen to the ASL or the audio to see what those might be like. Once you're done with that, when you're done kind of checking those out, can you write in the chat box a little thumbs up or something to let us know we can move forward?
You guys can use your reactions button at the bottom of the screen to give a thumbs up. That would be helpful as you have done this first step.
All right, I see a lot of dones. See a couple dones.
Kirsty Ream, can you tell me what your student's name is here so I can use yours as an example?
Did you see it, SHS kid?
Oh, thank you. All right. I might need to refresh that. SHS. Okay, so once you've taken your time to do the student version, oh, it didn't come up. Let me use this. How did I do that? I want to show you what it really looks like. All right, well, when you've done your professional version, that's the educator, you'll see a check mark, and these options will go away because it's done. Then you can assign it to the student or send it to the family. We know that in traditional school settings before COVID world, people were printing and sending things home to families. I think now we see a lot more teachers emailing those links over to families and students. I don't know if that's helped increase the participation, but it's an option to have and a way to share or the opportunity with the family members. Now, I also want you to see, I've lost mine, okay. I want you to see, I'm gonna open this, the family in Spanish, and you'll see that it just automatically gives all the same questions in the same order, just in Spanish. It looks exactly the same for Chinese, but I can't read the Chinese version, so I won't show you that. All right, and so once you've completed that, I'm gonna use, let's see if we can look at this Jessica Quack. Oh, no, not yet. You'll see that if only one person has completed the assessment, you will get this notification. There's not enough data. You need at least 2 people. And we always say one of those people should be the student. It's the student's transition plan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so we can click mark completed, and all the way down at the bottom of your screen will be the students who are completed. I like this function because it gives you a timestamp to tell parents or to put in the IEP or any communication system by September 23rd at this exact time we completed this set of assessments. That's really important information to have, especially when we're dealing with parents who like that kind of information or have advocates that want to know exactly when things are done. These options are really important. You can always see your TAGG profile. It won't let me see that one either, but I want to see one with to show you in person. Has anybody completed 2 versions of these so I can show an example?
Why don't you guys give a thumbs up if you at least went in and did the questions for 2, for a student and as an educator or as a parent, just so that she can demo that.
I got a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it.
I seen where you said you had opened it up in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it and I just see where it says print Spanish. But would I have to erase this one and create another one? Let's say I accidentally opened this up and I should have made it Spanish for the parent.
Yeah.
How do I correct that?
So if that's why it's important for the teacher to do theirs first, because that's when you start assigning the language that the parent needs to take it in or the student needs to take it in. That can't usually be done retroactively. So once the language is in, the language is in. And if you didn't click it before, it's hard to do after. If that happens, you feel free to contact us and we can help you kind of refund and fix that credit so that it comes out correctly the next time.
Yeah, and that's been one of the common questions is people don't check it initially and then they wish they checked one of the other languages later on. So we are currently working on what we call like TAGG 2.0, which is a different website, and that feature will be included in the next website because that's a pretty common one where teachers want to go back and change the language. So thanks for confirming that.
Elkis, I think you have one that I believe, let's see, I saw someone who said that she felt like she had done.
It's okay, I pulled up one of mine.
Okay.
Here this was a
thank
practice,
you.
a fictional student that I was kind of trying to figure things out for. You can click view TAGG profile and this is what it looks like. You have the view printer friendly version that'll let you download it as a PDF, but then you'll have to click these specific boxes. Combined will show you everybody's at once, and if you click the individual one, you'll just see the student answers or the parent answers. The combined one is the one that we showed you in the PowerPoint, what it looks like, and it goes through each of those 8 areas that we mentioned we're assessing in the TAGG. Now, immediately after that, you're going to see the areas of greatest strength. Sometimes it could be hard for students themselves to know what they are good at. This is a great way to show them. You have really good disability awareness and you're very involved in your IEP. Those are great strengths to have. Here are your greatest needs, areas that we really should get working on this year. And here are our goals to help you work on these areas that we've identified. Now, my favorite thing is the present levels of performance statement. You can copy and paste this directly into the IEP. It explains what happened in this test and what the general results are. So let me do a little bit of work for you.
And just a reminder, Belkis, remember we're putting transition in the PLAF, right, people? Okay.
So here, like we're taking 10 minutes of your day back. We could copy and paste, and this will explain what's happening. Like Kendra said earlier, the goals that we have listed are not end all be all. They could serve as great, what's the word, samples for you to.
Yeah, they're kind of good starting point, good suggestions.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's essentially it.
So we want to make sure that everyone is able to access their own personal accounts. So are there any kind of other questions, you know, kind of on using this? It's one of those systems that get into the demo, play with the demo for a few minutes so you can kind of see how the different things work. There's the emails that automatically you can send them to students, you can send them to parents, you can even send it to another educator. So let's say you're the case manager for a student, but you don't really work with the student. What you really want is, you know, the teacher across the hall to take it. You can also email the assessment to other teachers in your building. So those are ways to reach out to other, you know, to make sure it gets out, especially in a virtual format, which a lot of us are teaching in right now. The other suggestion, and of course this is not as easy given COVID-19, but a lot of teachers we've seen have success doing parent surveys during parent-teacher meetings. And so you know you're going to have parents into your classroom, have them complete those surveys, you know, when they come up to your classroom, sending the survey to a parent if you know the IEP meeting or the ARD meeting is coming up in a couple of weeks, sending the information to parents regularly 2 weeks before so that you can incorporate their feedback. And so we've seen teachers do a lot of different consistent things to try to increase that parental involvement. So definitely.
We had some questions that I'd like to answer. So what is the difference between the TAGG and the TAGG-A? TAGG is very simply put, mild, moderate. TAGG-A, more significant disabilities. The assessments will work exactly the same way. So the format will be familiar to you. If you're using the TAGG now, you should be able to transfer those skills directly into the TAGG-A. And about how long does it take to answer the questions? Somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes, we'll say. It kind of depends on the individual. If you were like me and you had students who do not like to test for more than 5 minutes at a time, I suggest printing it out and kind of going question by question as you can with students. That might be a better way to do that.
So the question was asked, how do I combine my results to get the bar chart? If I'm understanding your question correctly, it should automatically, if you view the TAGG profile, it should have all, you clicked on,
sorry.
You clicked on one that wasn't done.
You'll see here that there's a combined, I know they don't look like they're clickable, but they are clickable. Once you click the combined, you should be able to see everybody who's completed it.
Yeah. And Belkis, leave that open a little bit because here's another common question that we get. And so the tag was normed for students in high school. And so one common question we get is, can I use this for students in middle school? And the answer is, sure, why not? But please take note that especially when it gives you these results, you can see average. And so you may have a student in middle school who is now being compared against a group of high school students. And it may not be like they may be coming in below average, but that may be very appropriate for middle school students. We don't really know. So whenever you're giving this to students who are below high school age, I think it's great to look at, you can definitely see areas of strengths and limitations and the different constructs, but I would be really careful in interpreting that below average, average, above average designation, just because you're now comparing a student who is much younger than the assessment was really designed and created for. So, sorry, that's another common question.
The assessment does start at age 14. So pretty much as soon as a student can be in high school, you can start testing.
We had a couple comments. One says, will we have access to this demo to show others the TAGG assessment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Stacy already uses it. Apparently, I use Control P the results so I can print and share with my district. And then Laura says, will our credits be added to our accounts directly, or is there another step?
We will add the credits to your accounts directly.
Yeah, so everyone who, if your credits should already be in your account for the names that we had early enough. If we didn't, then we'll definitely get those created. Michelle, I saw that you asked about TAGG A, and the short answer is once TAGG A is finished, it will work 99% the same way. So right now, if you decide to do the TAGG A pilot, you take all the questions, you just don't get a profile at the end because we're still finalizing what that profile is going to look like. So, all right, so I guess we're right at about an hour, but I really want to make sure people can get in and access their accounts. Carla, I know that you were working on the list of people who said that they didn't have an account. So I don't know if it's easy to email that with us, or, and that way when you do some of your breakout room stuff, we can make sure those people are added.
You should have. Presley, I think, emailed it.
Okay.
Presley, can you make sure you email that to Belkis and to also to?
I sent it to all 4 of you.
Okay.
I see it now.
But
I'll work there right now.
Let me make sure that
there were 2 that did it after I've emailed it, so I'll just send those 2 separate right now.
Randy Davis was one of those that sent me a message that he can't access his account.
Okay, he's on the list.
Okay, good. And that's the only other message that I think I received. All right, so we do still have, still get out earlier. Let's see if there's any other questions before we tell you what our next step is. There was, Amy, we see that you just put something in the chat. Amy Christie. Thank you. Add it.
Who do they contact to be a part of the trial for TAGG A? Would that be Kendra and Belkis?
Yeah, you can contact either one of us and we will definitely get you in touch with someone.
Or the TAGG OU email works as well.
Belkis is for her dissertation validating the TAGG in Spanish. And so if you have Spanish speaking students, please get in touch with Belkis because she's got some incentives to help get enough to validate that. So
smiling big like they're decent incentives. So just
yeah.
We can give you some extra credits, more support, of course, access to all of our materials that you have to help increase the number of Spanish testing students and get more accurate results for them.
That's wonderful, Belkis. Kendra, I think did you already mention, I thought there was something that you were going to mention about the air.
Oh Oh, yes. This is why I'm a squirrel. So how many of you have ever used the AIR self-determination assessment? I see a couple hands raised. We are, let me log in right now. We have just, well, we were hoping this would roll out in the spring, but we all know what happened in the spring. We have uploaded the AIR into the TAGG system. And so, oh, well, if I can get on.
You can, we can move to the next step and then you can get that ready for when they come back. But I just wanted to remind you that you hadn't mentioned that. We've got a couple of more comments. Okay, Karen, we'll get you added and set up as well. Our next step, Sandy, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. Do you want to kind of tell them what we're getting ready to do? Because Presley is getting ready to put us into some groups for about 7 minutes to have some discussions.
Absolutely.
Presley, okay, hold on a second. Let me get there.
No, go ahead, honey.
All right. Presley just dropped a form, a document into the chat for you guys.
Correct. And so what's going to happen, guys, is that you are about to go into a breakout room. You will be assigned one of 9 rooms. And there is a link that Presley just downloaded in the chat. It's just a link to a Google form per room. So if your first name is the closest to the letter A in your group, is your first name closest to the letter A? So if Carla and I were in a group together, Carla would be it. So if your name is closest to the letter A, first name, you will be your designee to just type in the comments that were discussed in your meeting. These are the 4 questions. Please make sure that your breakout room is aligned to your breakout room form. And we're going to give you about 5 or 7 minutes. We'll pop in to see if you have any questions and just to kind of be a part of the conversation. But certainly we want you to spend a little bit of time there answering these questions. We do know, guys, that transition is one of those review and support areas that they are doing with folder reviews. So we want to get some feedback from you to see also not only with the TAGG and the AIR, but what else can the network do to help you with the transition assessments. Okay, so we're going to send you off to breakout room land. Is that correct, Presley? Off they go.
Yes, I'm going to stop the recording real quick. And Carla, and everybody's going to go to a room, even Belkis and Kendra. Just leave the room and go back to the main room.
Okay. All right. And Sandy and I will be popping in. But let's talk about those questions really quickly. I did want to point out, we sent this document in advance to you guys. If you, and you obviously read, so you should have received it. But I wanted to point out is that first question that you see there is a question that your special ed directors have been very busy completing the transition and graduation composite for operating procedures. So they may come to you and ask, you know, to have a conversation about how do you provide guidance on which age-appropriate transition assessments will be used in your district or campus. So it's something for you to really think about. They have, directors have until October the 31st to complete this process. And so I just felt like it was a good question for you guys to kind of be thinking about. There's no right or wrong answer here, you guys, but just some things for you to think about. And then the second one is how can you expand the use of a variety of age-appropriate transition assessments in your district or your campus? And then think about what do you need to do next after you're done with our session today? What is it that you feel like you need to do? And is there someone or other people in your district or on your campus that you may need to talk to about this to get them involved in this process as well? So,
and there are a couple questions before we leave. We will be sending you to a breakout room. So you will get an invitation to join momentarily when you are sent to a room, and you just say yes and you'll pop in there and we'll be popping in with you.
And it'll say the breakout room that you're in. It should be at the top of the screen. It should say breakout room 1 or breakout room 2. And so that will be the link of the form that you click on from the Word document. So if you'll open that Word document, so when you go to the breakout room, you have it.
So if I go into breakout room number 9, then I'm going to click on the Google form for number 9 to be able to answer these 4 questions. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, all righty. Other questions before we send you out?
Yes,
Okay.
for the person on the phone, how?
I think you'll
Oh, I
sit in the main room. I don't think you'll be able to go into a breakout room.
That's okay.
No, I won't.
We're
So
glad
you'll
Thank
you'll stay in the main room and you can have a private conversation with Kendra
Kendra and Belkis.
Belkis, okay? All right.
That sounds good.
Send us away, Presley.